And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, the Premier League show. We're back with more Premier League action. It's match day 2. We're 19th of the way through the season. Wow, we're almost there. We've almost covered it. Plenty to talk about. Lots of stuff from the weekend. It is live Carabao Cup action as well, so I'm sure that there'll be some live scores that we can keep you updated with as well. Plenty going on, as always, in the footballing world. But first of all, let me introduce my super co-host today. Someone who is doing in the middle of a 4 podcast straight run, having done a triple game week on non-league yesterday, which was just insanity. Charlotte's here to talk Premier League as well. How are you doing, Charlotte? It's like a 24/7 podcast marathon for you.
I know. I just wanted to apologise for anybody who was expecting Lucas, by the way. I know he does have a fan club and you got me instead, so I do apologise. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk Premier League. How are you?
Yes, I'm not doing too bad, though. I feel bad because I've not got the memo on the red T-shirts today. I know, this is it. Team colours, and I've not even got the right strip on. I'm not the idiot who turns up on the coach and the away kit when it's the home kit day. But there we go. And, of course, the other man wearing red, the Superman, Mr. Grimmy himself. Welcome, Grimmy. How are you doing? How was your bank holiday weekend?
Yeah, it was nice and chilled, actually, for once. Usually it's hectic and full of jobs to do around the house because the wife has a million things that I need to do. But yeah, it wasn't this time, so it was nice. Going back to Lucas, I've heard reports from Fabrizio Romano. He's actually working on his latest edition of the calendar for 2026, so that's where he is.
It's long overdue, to be fair. And just for anybody listening, we're not accepting bids. We're going the Alexander Isak. He's not gone the Alexander Isak route. He's not down tools.
That we know of.
That we know of. No, we are in talks. Lucas will be back. We'll be back once the transfer window is shut. Lucas is coming back, no doubt about it. But yes, we have the three of us. Should we talk some Premier League football? Let's talk some Premier League football. I would say let's say hello to the chat, but no one's saying hello in the chat today.
No one wants to talk to us.
Hello, chat.
It's because I'm here. Be sick of it. You're tuned out.
Well, I hope you're watching. You're having a wonderful bank holiday weekend. Anyway, right. So let's kick things off with the Premier League. It is the Premier League. It's Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur is the first game we're going to talk about this weekend. That was a bit of an interesting one on Saturday lunchtime. Of course, it's a new era for Tottenham under Thomas Frank, and they got a fantastic win at the Etihad, 2 goals and a clean sheet over Manchester City. Thomas the Frank engine, as he's been called, which I love the nickname, steaming in with another victory for Spurs over Manchester City. He's also in rare territory, Grimmy. He's become the 3rd manager to do win over Guardiola with 2 different teams. So there you go. Yeah. Thomas Frank's just breaking records. But so Grimmy, Spurs have a great record against Manchester City, winning again. But how impressive was this win?
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, you can't, if you're going away to City and getting a 2-0 win and looking pretty comfortable in it as well, there's not many teams that can go and do that. And yeah, I think if anyone had said to me the Spurs of last season, granted with a couple of additional signings coming in and starting the season the way they have, and even certain players from last season looking as sharp as they have, like Richarlison, I think has to get a lot of plaudits for how he's played, because for me, he's probably been one of the best players of the past 2 weeks. I know it's a long season. He probably won't be top 5 by the end of the season, but if he continues the way he's going, he's obviously going to be getting a lot of plaudits. And yeah, I just think they looked really impressive going forward. They obviously looked really sharp, really quick, had a lot of chances. I mean, 12 shots, 5 on target there, as you can see on the stats. And defensively, they were pretty solid as well. And City only really had 2 or 3 decent chances, really, out of all of them. A couple Haaland probably should have put away, but if you don't put the chances away, then Spurs are a team that will make you pay if they're on it. And they did that.
They do indeed, and they seem to be sort of employing this sort of high energy. They seem to have understood Thomas Frank pretty early on. The only thing that's impressed me as well is they played a different way against the 3 matches they've had so far. Different way against PSG, different way against Burnley, and a different way against City, and they've kind of been able to adapt to each. Kudus in particular, I think, was very good. He helps their press. I think he's opening up Brennan Johnson a bit more as well. And Richarlison, Grimmy, seems to be a new lease of life. He was really putting the effort in. Looks really got to grips with it. And he's keeping Dominic Solanke on the bench at the moment as well. So how important is Richarlison for Tottenham so far?
Yeah, I mean, from the first 2 games alone, he's been a massive component of it. I was very impressed with what he did against Burnley in the first week, and then again, he was here, there, and everywhere against City, and put himself in, making challenges, putting real pressure. Like there was a couple of times where he was putting Trafford under pressure, who had a bit of a shaky game, and in the way Richarlison's playing, you probably don't want someone like that if you're James Trafford charging at you and trying to close you down. But yeah, if he can keep doing what he's doing, then he can't really be any question of whether or not he starts. Because as much as Solanke can be a finisher when he's in form, I think Richarlison obviously does so much more for the front line in terms of closing down, setting things up for people, and obviously putting goals away as well. I mean, he scores good goals, he scores tap-ins, he does it all when he's in form. So yeah, if he keeps playing like this, he should be starting every week, really.
And so far he is, and looks like he's going to be the man for Thomas Frank. Shah, we obviously talked about in the preview show, Pelinha. He loves a booking. I know he's in yellow on the screen there, but no, it was a goal for Pelinha this week. Some messing about at the back for Man City with James Trafford playing out the back, etc. Do you worry for James Trafford that that sort of mistake with the noises of Donnarumma, etc.? It's not good. He thought he was coming to be number one. He's made a mistake, and now they might get another goalkeeper.
Definitely. I do feel for James Trafford, to be fair, because there is the rumours about Donnarumma, and Pep Guardiola, it doesn't give many chances to players, does it? Obviously, the talk of Ederson leaving, I don't know what's gone on there, whether there's been a fallout, whether he just wants to leave. I know he's been linked with Saudi, he's been linked with other European clubs as well, so I'm not too sure what's going on with him. But I do feel a bit for James Trafford, especially obviously coming to Manchester City, thinking you are going to be number one keeper now with the Ederson situation. And then you've got Donnarumma. There's rumours of him going. I think City are the favourites for him. I know Chelsea are apparently interested as well. It wouldn't surprise me because of Sanchez. We'll get on to him a little bit later. But I do feel for James Trafford because there'd be a lot of pressure on him anyway. Obviously, the step back up again, especially to Manchester City. But then when you've got somebody who's won numerous Champions Leagues, who's won league titles as well, with obviously PSG just around the corner, then it's not good. But on Pelinha as well, Sam. I mean, what a performance. What a performance. I thought he was solid in that midfield, honestly, for Spurs. And it was one signing I was really, really excited about, wasn't it? When we previewed, obviously, the Premier League. But as I mentioned as well about, obviously, Thomas Franks, I just think he's a very good tactician. And the style of plays and the way he tweaks them is very different to, obviously, Postecoglou. It was very stubborn in his nature. But I'm actually really excited to watch Spurs this season, and it's not something I've said very often recently.
No, it's a new lease of life under Thomas Frank. You said Pelinha's, I think he's perfect for that midfield. Exactly what they kind of need, sort of the destroyer, but he's a good ball playing midfielder as well, Pelinha. And also having Romero and Van der Ven at the back, how important is that? We barely saw that last season with injuries, etc. they had, but when Van der Ven's on it, he certainly does look Rolls Royce alongside Romero back there. It's just been a really, really good positive start, off the back of the Burnley game. First game of the season at home, and we're all thinking, okay, here's the test. And they passed it with flying colours. But on to Manchester City, Shah. It's their youngest Premier League match they put out since 2010 in terms of their starting 11. It's obviously a transitional team. They lacked a bit of rhythm and composure. Do you think that, maybe just the introduction of when Rodri's able to start, that might settle things down a little bit? They think it's just too much change going on at the same time?
I think possibly at the moment, because obviously you have got the injury with Rodri, and it's one of them now with a reoccurring injury. Will he be the same Rodri that we've all seen shine recently for Manchester City? Obviously, losing Kevin De Bruyne, as much as he didn't feature in some of the games, and he obviously didn't feature due to injury in a couple of games last season, he was still absolutely class when he was on Kevin De Bruyne. So I think that's massive boots to fill. But I think it's a bit of a transition. They have got a lot of new players. I think Shirky played very well. against Tottenham. I've seen glimpses of him, and I just feel like at the moment, Pep Guardiola and the transition, it is going to be quite difficult. But in the previous games as well, I have seen glimpses, and I don't really want to take anything away from Spurs because I thought they played very, very well against Manchester City. I know they're a bogey team in recent seasons. No matter who's obviously managed Spurs, somehow they managed to get the wins against Manchester City. And as you said before, Thomas Franks is very, very good. No matter what team he is manager of, he does get results against Manchester City. I just think it was a little bit of an off day for them. Haaland obviously didn't really get into the game either. Mamouche had a couple of chances, what he could have probably put away. But yeah, it's one of them with Manchester City at the minute. I think they just need a little bit more time to adapt. And who's to say next game they could probably go and turn a team over?
Well, this is
Wouldn't
it.
surprise me.
The talent's there. It's probably just blending
100%.
some of that stuff in. So you look at that starting lineup there, and you've obviously got, say, Reinders is his second game. His first, he was very good in the first game. He's
Very
got to
good.
adjust. I didn't think a lot of Gonzalez, if I'm honest, in midfield. I've not been and obviously anyone compared to Rodri is a downgrade, to be fair. Oscar Bobb's come back from a long-term injury, and so he's got lively in bits. But again, that kind of consistency that you look for from a City side. But as Shah said there, Grimmy, that's now 3-5 they've won against Manchester City at the Etihad. It's quite a bogey team to have because Tottenham haven't quite been at it for multiple seasons. Lee says here, of course, our wonderful Lee joins us in the chat. Just remember, it's Spurs. We all know how they fall apart more into the season. Is that something you agree? Because obviously, Ange Postecoglou had a very similar start, if we recall. He went top of the league with Spurs after a while, and it kind of dropped off. Or do you have more belief that Thomas Frank's got more of a robust strategy already?
I think my concern with Spurs this season has always come when the Champions League kicks in, because of that rotation of obviously having every week being a 2-week game, or 2 games a week, I should say. And I think the reason it hurt Ange so much is, like we've touched on there, Sam, is because it was one way of playing and that was it. And he never changed things, whilst Frank will literally look the opponent the day before, change it as he needs to, and make them play the way they need to play in that particular game. So if that means they have to play 5 at the back, they'll play 5 at the back. If they go 3-4-3 or something, like whatever the tactic needs to be, I think Frank will make them adapt pretty well, considering he's had to play PSG and City so early on, and they've played well in both games. So yeah, I don't necessarily think there'll be as much of a fall off. I don't necessarily think they'll be maybe winning 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row or anything like that. But I don't expect them to fall too far outside like the top 4 challenge, because I've got them in and around the Champions League places. That's probably the one prediction I've probably made, which was a solid bet out of all of them. But yeah, so I think Spurs will be fine though in comparison to what it was like under Ange. I think unless there's like a massive injury crisis, I think they should be fine.
So they're looking in a much better place, and a very exciting start for Tottenham fans. Before we go to the next game, I'll just have a little look at what's going on in the Carabao Cup. Say at the moment, obviously that's the second round. Sorry, we're seeing the introduction of Premier League teams coming in at this stage. So we'll pick a couple that involve Premier League teams for this one, or any shockers that I can see. But Cambridge are 3-1 up against Charlton so far. They've had an hour played there. That could be a shocker on the cards. Wolves and West Ham, the 2 basement sides of the Premier League, who will be coming on to one of them for sure. They're 1-1 at the moment. Elsewhere, Birmingham are losing at home to Port Vale. Bit of a shocker there.
Dylan comes in, that Port Vale fan.
He loves Port Vale. Bournemouth at the moment 1-0 down at home to Brentford. All Premier League tie there. We've got Southampton are beating Norwich 1-0. Sunderland. Ants 1-0 down to Huddersfield. The mighty Lee Grant's Huddersfield are 1-0 up at Sunderland. And a great start there. And that's about it, I think. So
did you mention Bradford?
Bradford are 2-0 up at Stoke. Yes, yeah, well spotted, Grimmy.
Nice.
That's a very good one so far. And currently, to be fair, Sheffield Wednesday with barely any fans, I think, in there at 0-0 with Leeds. So that's so far almost at half time is a great result for them as well. Hello to Sean. Sean's joined us. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're well, Sean. And he says, Shah, guess what? Thursday you'll get a slightly longer match report.
Oh, I'm intrigued now. They're usually short ones.
He's working on it already. You see,
I know.
You've got a couple of days
Getting better
to get it prepped. Get it prepped. Right, next up, we have, of course, Arsenal versus Leeds, with quite a substantial home victory for Arsenal, 5-0 over the Premier League new boys. Victor Gyökeres getting 2 goals, breaking his Premier League duck. First one, a very strong dribble into the box, an excellent finish into the bottom corner, and the second was a penalty, which we'll talk about the guy who got the assist for the penalty very shortly, I am sure. But first off, Shah, should we sort of start with you? An expected win for Arsenal against Leeds, but how important is that for Victor Gyökeres to get off the mark for his new side in front of his home fans?
Yeah, definitely, especially with all the talk over the summer of Gyökeres, where he'll go. And obviously, there's going to be massive amount of pressure because you've got people now saying, oh, well, he did it in the Championship. He's done it in Portugal, but will he be able to cut it and obviously do it in the Premier League? So I'm really happy that he's got off to a good start in the Premier League, to be fair. Especially considering in pre-season there was a lot of people making fun already, weren't there, of him saying, "Oh, he's not scored yet," and blah blah blah. So I'm happy. Obviously, it's a long season, though, isn't it? So he's got off the mark, but it's still a long way to go. But yeah, an expected win, to be honest, from Arsenal, very strong as well. Leeds, this is probably one of the reasons as well that I did have them in my relegation team. I just don't think that they've got the quality that a lot of the Premier League teams do have. But then you've got to just put into perspective as well the money that Arsenal have spent this season, and there's no competition really, is there, between the two? I thought Timber had a very good game. It was nice to see, obviously, Timber back. Saka, very frustrating by Saka because obviously we saw him go off with injury. Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure whether they rushed him back too soon after that really bad injury he had last season. I do feel for Bukayo Saka because I feel like he is key this season. I know they've obviously got some other signings now in your Gyökeres. They've obviously got Eze, haven't they? Who I'm really excited to see play for Arsenal. Is someone in the Premier League I really rate. And I'm glad he's managed to get a move to a bigger club. But yeah, I just think Arsenal, the quality of them, and these are the games that they should be winning. I know we obviously now and again see some shock results and the lower teams obviously pulling off a result, but I just think Arsenal were just the quality of them that day. And obviously at home, they've got the crowd behind them and a really good start to Arteta's men, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Arteta to prove himself this season, especially with the money they've spent and the time scale he's been without a trophy.
That's it. They need to start and say 5-0 at home in front of the fans. Is always a good way to start it. As you said, disappointing for them with the injuries to Bukayo Saka. I think they said not quite as bad as feared. I think 4 weeks or so he's going to miss the Liverpool game, but they reckon after the international break he might well be back. It's a hamstring, but not. I think they said the same as what he did last season, which was a hamstring injury. But the two they're saying are not linked. And then Odegaard with the shoulder injury for him. I think again they think that's not too bad. But as you said there, like having Eze in, Grimmy, they've got so much more depth now, haven't they? When you look at the fact Madueke went over to the right and sort of looked decent for them. So Eze will come in somewhere into that front line. You've got Ethan Nwaneri who can play, was very lively in preseason. I think this is a great opportunity for him to maybe step into a role. Do you think that? Do you agree? You think Arsenal have that depth, so they're going to miss when someone like Saka or Odegaard is not available, that we'll see less of a drop off?
Yeah, I mean, I think Eze coming in is a massive boost to them. I think I still worried a little bit if you had that scenario play out of Odegaard and Saka going, but I think seeing Madueke play the way he did on Saturday and then seeing Eze coming in, it's kind of like they have 2 or 3 players that can play in any of those 3 behind the striker positions, really. So, yeah, the quality they've got behind the striker is scary. And I'm glad we've played them first game of the season and don't have to play them again for a while and not have to see them at full force. Because I think even on Saturday, it wasn't necessarily they were pulling trees up. I think they were going at a stroll against Leeds. And I think if they were at maximum playing at 100%, it could have been 8, 9, 10-0 really against Leeds, the way they were playing, if they played at 100%, that is.
Yeah, they absolutely battered them over, didn't they? And of course, corners, as always with Arsenal, is a danger. And the Emirates GSA, so they announced him before the game. I think it's quite it's his boyhood club, so you could kind of see what it meant. It was quite an emotional unveiling, I think they had, which I think Ian Wright as well did sort of a package video, which is like if you want a man to do a package video in terms of your introduction and debut, Ian Wright is your guy. I mean, talk about there's a man that everybody loves, that touches the heartstrings. So it was massive for him. And as you say, I think it'll be really exciting to see how he fits into that team. But one man that we did see, who if you're watching pre-season bits and pieces around that time would have heard of for Arsenal, but this might be your first take into Premier League. Max Dowman, Grimmy, at 15 years, 235 days, comes on in the Premier League, looks pretty good, and then goes and gets brought down for the penalty for Victor Gyökeres. He is just the 3rd player to appear in a Premier League game before turning 16, with one of the others being Ethan Nwaneri. I mean, at 15 years old, that's incredible, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. You always worry with players of that age if they're going to be a bit overawed by the occasion, but he just looked like he fit in straight away. Like, taking players on, holding players off as well. Like, he's still, for lack of a better term, he's still a boy. He's 15 years old. He's holding off players that are like 10, 15 years his senior, and obviously much stronger and, in the full bodies by that point. And yeah, he looked great. And if that's just a slight preview of what he can do, and if he develops the way Arsenal can develop the players, like, he could be some player in the coming years. But by the sounds of it from Arteta, it sounds like he's going to be in and around the team. So there's probably not a lot of better teams out there, England, Europe, in the world, that'll be able to develop him better. So yeah, what a great start for him. And to be honest, I was kind of good he didn't get the penalty. Like, I kind of wanted him to take the penalties just to have that on the CV. But yeah, they gave it to Gyökeres in the end, which I fully understand. But yeah, would have been nice if he'd had that opening penalty and get a goal on his account on his debut.
And so he looks tasty, and as you said, he'll get with Saka. Saka potentially missing a couple of games. There's more of an option because he plays on that right hand side. They're likely to start Madueke instead, probably against Liverpool. But I mean, that's not a bad. We'll come to Liverpool's young starlet in a minute. But we might be seeing a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old changing that game next week, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, great win for Arsenal. For Leeds, at the end of the day, I think Daniel Farker said it. This isn't going to be whether this defines whether we stay up or not. Lots of teams are going to go and get beat at the Emirates. 5's not great. They want to be keeping those kind of score lines down, but they've got Newcastle next week, so interesting how Leeds get on. So moving on.
Sam, can I just really quickly address Sean's comment? Because he forgot that he played in a championship. He's been to cold places like Stoke and Sunderland. He'll be going to Sunderland again, and it's really cold. Newcastle as well. So I'm sorry, when you play at Stoke and stuff and the northern teams, I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll cope, yeah.
He'll be
wear
fine.
Gloves.
He'll wear gloves. I'm sure he'll survive. He's been to QPR away.
Exactly.
He'll be all right. But talking of London, got a London derby. West Ham 1.
West Ham.
Chelsea 5. West Ham. I think we touched on them a bit last week, where it was a bit tepid from them against Sunderland. Oh my word, they didn't half collapse against Chelsea. It all started so well. Lucas Paquetá with a Thunderbolt. Even. The Thunderbolt. They've got the Thunderbolt at half time, I'm sure, and at full time. But a Thunderbolt, fantastic finish from him. Cole Palmer injured in the warm up. At that point, you're thinking, oh, okay, have West Ham arrived here? No, No was the answer. Emphatically no. 3 goals from corners conceded, all over the place defensively. Not taking anything away from Chelsea, who were very good, and it's clicking very nicely for them. We'll come to them in a minute. West Ham, Grimmy. West Ham. 1 goal scored, 8 goals conceded in their first 2 games. They look a bit shoddy.
A bit. I think that's a kindness, Sam, to be honest. Yeah, I expect them to be poor like during the course of the season, but I didn't expect them to start off this bad. Yeah, it's a strange one because I felt like with the run that Potter had with them at the back end of him coming in last season, I felt like they would be okay. And as long as they invested in the summer, they'd be fine. But to only really sign a goalkeeper from Leicester who'd just been relegated and not really do anything else is kind of setting yourself up for failure. And I know they've got Bowen and they've got Paqueta, but that's kind of all they've got, really. That can really create anything going forward. I mean, Paqueta's not going to, no disrespect to him, but he's not going to score the type of goals that he scored against Chelsea week in, week out to keep them up. He can pull that out maybe once every few games or once every 5 games. But if you can't defend, which by all suggestions of the past 2 games is very much the case, then they're not going to have much chance because they're not getting any goals to sort of balance that out. So, yeah, that Friday game was, for me as a neutral, was a hard watch. But as a West Ham fan, I mean, you saw fans leaving after the 3rd Chelsea goal, which, again, they spent the money on it, but I don't blame them for leaving at all. It's a shocking start. Even if it was against a very good Chelsea side, you can't be defending and losing the way that they did, which was kind of weak and feeble. I think I heard on commentary at one point. So, yeah, not great.
Yeah, it was probably fair to describe them, and they just, as you said, just didn't have anything about them. Once Chelsea got back into the game, it just completely sort of fell to pieces. Sean, I think Sean's trying to, put 2 anagrams together here with sort of anagram sayings. West Ham looked like they broke down, and Chelsea were just driving past them like there was no tomorrow. But I mean, Graham Potter. We said at the back end of last season, it's not clicked. The transfers have not really been there. Nothing's kind of happened really. When you look at what they've done, they looked weak in a number of areas. I know we've sort of, everyone's going to be asking this question, but Potter's, it's not looking great for him.
No, I think a lot of people have had Potter down as one of the first managers to be sacked as well in the Premier League. And I think if you ask them the same question now, a majority, even who didn't have him, I think they will have him now. There's obviously going to be pressure on him anyway, especially considering he did manage Chelsea at one point. So you're going to have the Chelsea fans on your back and West Ham fans. As we all know, West Ham fans are never happy, like at the moment. They were crying out for a new manager when they had Moyes. Moyes wins them the Conference Cup, was it? I'm sure it was the Conference.
The Europa Conference League,
the Europa Conference League. He wins that. They still don't want him. They get Lopetegui in, who's a big name. Lopetegui doesn't cut it for him. Obviously, they bring Graham Potter in, and it was either going to go one way or the other with Graham Potter. I thought he'd either do, considering like he did with Brighton, where it's a bit of a project thing. But I think unlike Brighton, where he had money and finances at Brighton, I don't know what's going on with West Ham at the minute. I don't know if they're getting the budget or whether they're getting the finances, because they don't seem to be doing much with that squad. As we mentioned with Bowen as well, Jared Bowen is absolutely class, and he can't do it all on his own. And there's going to come a point, even though he loves West Ham, and bearing in mind he's Danny Dyer's obviously son-in-law, so there must come a point where you're like, yeah, I know we all love West Ham, I know you love West Ham as well, but it's not satisfying him right now, and he'll obviously want to come be part of the England squad maybe as well. And at this moment in time, I really do worry for West Ham. I think I said it last season as well, the back end of last season. They're they're not entertaining me like West Ham previously would. Because you think of West Ham a few seasons ago, and they were up there, they were challenging, they were surprising teams as well. But now I just feel like they're regressing, and they're doing it quite quickly now. So it wouldn't surprise me, obviously, if Graham Potter did get sacked, because the fans won't be happy. They definitely won't. They're not a happy bunch, are they?
No, the expectations. I think we said it when David Moyes was and we said, be careful what you wish for, because at that point they were kind of knocking on the door of kind of that top 8 almost. They'd won the Europa Conference League. They're in the right kind of areas, and and it's just, as you said, Lopetegui, it's not worked. Potter, it's again not clicked. The squad's not there. The midfield for me, I think we said it last week, really really weak. Just there's no energy in there. It's pretty much a mismatch, and I think they've got issues all over the place, and they don't look like they're going to be doing anything too much. I think in the last week, I think I've seen some bids they've been putting in. It seems a little bit for a couple of want-away players from other clubs, but it seems a bit like they have to do that rather than they've kind of gone about trying to do that. So, and as you said, Shai, if they end up in a relegation fight and if they somehow end up going down, there's no way Jared Bowen's. No. You understand? There's a number of teams that would be quite happy to take him if it gets to that point. But on the flip side of it, Grimmy, Chelsea, pretty emphatic, some confidence from the Club World Cup. Is that what a lot of this is? Is this confidence in the Club World Cup? You've got young players exciting, starting to link. João Pedro, is it kind of a mix of those new players are really spicing things up for Chelsea?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's it's the young players coming in. It's the bounce from the Club World Cup, but also I think that the forward line is probably a lot more stable now because of the fact you haven't got Nicholas Jackson there. No disrespect to Jackson, I think he will be a top striker at some point. I just don't know if it's because Chelsea didn't fit him or if Maresca just doesn't see it in him or whatever. But I think I can't remember, I was reading something earlier today, he was linked with, I think, maybe Bayern Munich, which is, the top clubs are still in for him. But yeah, I just think that forward line, having João Pedro in there, who's obviously proven in the Premier League with his time at Brighton, and he obviously has hit the ground running with Chelsea, getting a goal and assist there. And he looked pretty sharp against Palace as well. I just think even though Chelsea kind of have done what they've tended to do over the past few summers, which is sell a load of players, bring in a load of players, I think that the type of player they've brought in seems to be working quite well at the minute. It's a lot of energy, a lot of pace, and it seems to be fitting and clicking quite well. Was a bit worried about the Palace game, but then seeing how they played against West Ham, I think those worries have been put to bed a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that spine's there, isn't it? That's been there. You've got that partnership of Caicedo and Fernandes is really coming together now nicely. Yeah. You've got elements like, say, Cucurella's been a really, really great revelation for them. Sort of has been a kind of underrated, clever player, I think, for them over the past 12 months.
Chalobah as well. He's really stepped up, Chalobah.
Yeah, Chalobah's been important, obviously on the score sheet as well there against West Ham. And one young wonder kid who was thrust into it because of the Cole Palmer injury, Esteval. Yeah. How good is Esteval, Grimmy? And is he? How are we going to be talking about him in the next few years? Is his progression going to be a quick one, or do you think we're going to start to see some erratic performances for a little while?
No, I think he's going to be a pretty special player, to be honest. I mean, seeing him, I didn't really see him much in the West Ham game, because again, I only really saw the highlights of it. But seeing him against Palace and how he came on the pitch with like the last 20 minutes, and he just took the ball and just drove at people, no fear, just absolutely electric pace. Probably should have had a goal as well against Palace. I think he got a bit, he just got a bit aggravated by the shot and just blazed it over the bar, but. Yeah, he looks like a really special talent and someone who could probably, if he develops the right way in the next season or so, probably nail down that position as his own and keep it as his own for a long while, unless Chelsea decide, in a couple of years to cash in on him and sell him to like Barca or something. I don't know, but which would be a typical Chelsea thing to do, I think. But I think he's going to be something pretty special, to be fair.
I think they've got the right manager as well to bring him kind of on with Maresca, because I know a lot of people were uncertain about Maresca, but as we've seen him working under Pep Guardiola, then at Leicester, And then Chelsea, it loves the young players and bringing them on. So I think he's a perfect manager to bring him on.
Yeah, he's really good with these young players, and interesting to see how that's all going to kind of blend together. I'm interested to see how Chelsea are going to go over a run of games. I think if they can start to kind of put victories and back-to-back wins, and you look at the next, obviously they've got the derby with Fulham coming up next weekend, and then they've got another London fixture with Brentford way coming up as well. So it's games that they could really sort of stamp some authority. And make a case. So I think most people have had them in their top four and think they'll be fighting up. But the question we've all got is, how close are they? You know, how close are we going to see? And the next few weeks, I think, will help tell us that a little bit. So let's move on through. We're going through the weekend, and we're going to a new stadium, a new day. Rebecca might still be there. Don't know. She's still living it up at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, Bramley Dock, as we have to call it. Everton 2, Brighton 0. They opened their new stadium with excitement with a goal from Iliman Ndiaye, who now has the distinction of being the last man to score at Goodison Park and the first man to score at Bramley Dock. So he will forever be remembered. And, of course, James Garner making it 2-0. But Shah, the man that was central to it all, a man that I think everybody in the nation just loves because he's just kind of got that kind of way about him. Jack Grealish is back. It was a fun-flowing Jack Grealish back. How excited are you to see him enjoying football at Everton?
I'll be really honest, I was really excited checking my phone and my fantasy Premier League because I've got Jack Grealish who got me 2 assists, and I had Jordan Pickford who did a penalty save and kept a clean sheet. But do you know what? I think this move for Jack Grealish could be the best thing for him and rejuvenating and revitalising his career, because I feel like when he first came at Manchester City, everyone was excited. But for some reason, he's just not cut it, has he, in that Pep Guardiola side in recent seasons. And I feel like with Jack Grealish as well, I know people label him like he likes to go out, he likes to drink, he likes to take away. But at the end of the day, this summer, he really has got his head down. He wanted that move, and you could see him like he was in the gym constantly. He was working hard on himself. And I feel like he really needs this move. And I personally think David Moyes could be the manager that does give him that confidence and bring it back. I know we didn't see too much of him in the first game for Everton. We did see him come on. But this game in particular, I don't know if anybody agrees, but I thought he played really, really well. Some of his link-ups as well. And it did kind of take me back to Jack Grealish at Aston Villa, the way he was playing and some of the moves he was making. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he can obviously kind of get back to how he was, because I love Jack Grealish. I love watching him as well. I think he's a really, really talented player. But yeah, I think he had a really good game, and as I say, it made me smile anyway for my fantasy Premier League.
That's the main thing. Everybody loves a good game for your fantasy points. You said that he kind of had a quiet, he wasn't as involved in the City last season. Obviously, was more involved kind of in their treble campaign, and sort of dropped out of the England squad. wasn't there for the Euros. So it's a massive move for him, and I like it. I think he'll be good for Everton because he also carries the ball through the pitch, which sometimes they struggle to do as well, and get them forward. And the link-up play. He's already sort of linking quite well with some of the players they've got up there. They've also signed Tyler Dibbling this week, which is going to be an interesting one too, because he was exciting for Southampton last season. So very good for sort of Grealish. Grimmy, so Everton with a win at home, off the back of a disappointing defeat to kind of Leeds. Massively important, isn't it? That new stadium, getting the winning feeling earlier and kind of making it as much of a fortress as they can, like Goodison was at times.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, if, I would dread to think what the atmosphere would have been like if they'd gone down early, or if they'd gone 1-0 down early on in like the first 10-15 minutes. We probably would have had Rebecca on the camera feed just effing and jeffing in the background, probably, knowing what she's like behind the scenes. But yeah, no, I think it's obviously a great start for them. I liked the atmosphere that was already being generated in the stadium before they went 1-0 up. it seems like it's going to be another fortress for them, and it's going to be another stadium that people akin to like Goodison Park didn't want to go to and didn't want to play at. Whilst it's maybe the crowd's not as on top of you as it was at Goodison, it still feels like it's going to generate that atmosphere that it needs to. Which for Everton the past 5 years has probably been a big hand in them having decent home form.
Yeah.
But I think with the players they've got in, the new stadium, Moyes being back, I think it's just going to be a much better season overall, and hopefully they can use that momentum going forward, because I think Grealish will be such a big component to that. And I loved watching him on Sunday. He was everywhere, doing everything and getting not only Shaw but myself some fantasy team points as well, which was the most important thing.
Exactly.
I just thought overall it was a great day for Everton, to be honest, and I think there'll be many of those to come, especially at home.
It was indeed 2-0 clean sheet, and Jordan Pickford saving a penalty, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on my bench. I don't want to. It's still too soon, Sam. It's still too soon.
Doing the business. One man I did feel for, not the afternoon for Danny Welbeck for Brighton. Penalty miss, Mr. Sitter as well. Is it harsh with me a little bit though on Brighton, because they did play well. They did create quite a lot. They hit the post. I think Van Hecker hit the post as well. Was it just a case of it just wasn't going to be their day, written in the stars for Everton, dust down and go again next week?
I mean, you say dust down and go again next week. They got City next, and if City are out
on
for
a losing
revenge
run,
if City are on a scout for revenge after the Spurs game, they might suffer from that. But yeah, I think it just, like you say, it was one of those days where the ball just didn't want to go in the back of the net for whatever reason, whether it's a post or a Pickford hand getting in the way or something like that. It just didn't want to happen. So yeah, Brighton will be fine. I think they'll be safely mid-table by the end of the season. When all things are done and dusted.
Okay, just not their day, and it's not been Chris's day in the chat. Unfortunately, he's having a nightmare with his internet, but hopefully he's all okay now. Fingers crossed that the internet has come back and you're with us. We need your video printer updates, Chris, from the Carabao Cup. You see, we're missing. There's so much to catch on. Sean's keeping a surprise with the DFB Pokal Cup for some reason. Still got a 2-1 up against Braunschweig, but we need some Carabao Cup updates.
Sorry, Wolves have turned it around from being 2-1 down to being 3-2 up with 2 minutes to go against West Ham.
Cheeky Wolves. Things get worse for West Ham.
82nd and 84th minute, the goals came in.
A dagger to West Ham Hearts. It's just getting worse and worse and worse for them. Next up, who's next up on our list? I can't remember, so this is a surprise. Oh, yes. The slight matter of Monday Night Football last night, which, to be honest, was I loved having that as Monday Night Football, because it kind of sat there as the kind of nice thing at the end of when you go, Monday bank holiday, everything's great, and then you're like, oh, this could be tasty. Obviously, the backdrop of the Alexander Isak transfer, not playing, not training, Liverpool interested, so Newcastle fans not happy. So it was always going to be a cauldron. It was always going to be quite an event, quite a match. And Shah, I know you didn't watch it because you were doing the live non-league show.
Don't do me dirty, Sam.
So I won't stitch you up with this one, because I know that you unfortunately weren't able to watch the particulars of it. Yeah, what did you think of? No idea. Grimmy, I'll come to you. It didn't disappoint as a spectacle, did it?
No, it did not. It's just one of those classic Monday Night Football fixtures, isn't it? Liverpool or Newcastle-Liverpool, where even when both teams won't be playing great, you'd still expect a great game. But luckily, these two teams are in top form at the minute. So, yeah, I mean, it had everything, didn't it? Sending off. It had the build-up beforehand with the Isak stuff, like you mentioned before, Sam. And, yeah, it was just a great game, top to bottom, really. It's just a shame it ended the way it did with Liverpool winning. But that's no bias or anything, being a Man United fan. But that's just...
It was an incredible game, and I'd say that backdrop of the Isak thing just gave it some spice, and it was certainly spicy early on. There were tackles kind of flying in. Yeah. There was lots going on. Newcastle, they're on top in that first half. I think they pegged Liverpool back. They made it so difficult for Liverpool to kind of get out. And then Gravenberch scored a really good finish, but kind of against the run of play. And at that point, you're thinking, okay, well, the match is still kind of there. And then we have the Anthony Gordon sending off, screamed himself across the pitch, closing down Van Dijk, and then leaving two pretty nasty looking calf.
Nice streaks on the back of his leg.
Streaks down the back of his calf. And when you see it at full speed, it's not great. I sent it to someone today. I said if he did that and it was like, you get that blocker where you go in front of the player, but you're not catching the player. I could get, but as soon as you're anywhere near the player at that speed, you're like you're done for. And Gordon knew, I think, when Van Dijk showed him the sparks, he went, "This could be trouble."
Yeah, he did know. He did. Yep.
He did know indeed. Spenny fan Chris says West Ham are embarrassing, and Isak is an embarrassment. But at that point, with Anthony Gordon sent off, it looked like Grimmy. That was going to be it. Particularly when Ekitike scored straight after half time, 2-0 to Liverpool. You're thinking, they're cruising now. Surely 10 men, 2-0 up. Yeah,
it was a strange one because I was watching it at the time. Unfortunately with a Liverpool fan who's a good friend of mine. Not that it's unfortunately he's a good friend of mine, it's more the Liverpool fan. I feel like I just have to clarify that.
It's all coming out now.
If he ever watches this, he may well be.
He's not dissing the friendship, he's just dissing your affiliation.
Dissing the affiliation, yes. I did say that if it had been sort of one of the three midfielders, I'd probably be worried about Newcastle being able to keep Liverpool out, but because they had that engine in the middle, I felt like they'd still be able to hang in there. And if they nick a goal with the atmosphere, it might get a bit squeaky. I didn't actually think they would score 2 goals and, actually peg them back. But yeah, I did. There was a little bit of hesitancy of when that sending off happened. It is Liverpool just going to coax away with it. But to be fair to Newcastle, they put the foot down and they managed to claw it back. And I mean, look at the stats themselves, like 10 shots against 5 when you only had 10 men. I think that's quite impressive. But I also think it flags that as good as Liverpool are, if we look at the Bournemouth game, I think they can be got at, and teams, if they have a go at them, will get some success. I think it's if teams try to sit on the counter and just wait for something to happen, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think you have to take the game to Liverpool and have players that can do that. And obviously, we know Newcastle do, and obviously Bournemouth had Semenyo pulling up trees at Anfield. So I do think there is a bit of defensive, not necessarily frailty, but I think there is a tendency that they might leak a few goals more than they did last year, which probably means they'll go sign Guay from Palace or something in the next week, and then everything will be okay again, and I'll just have to retract that statement. But yeah, fantastic game overall, and fair play to Newcastle for bringing it back. It's just gutting that the 100th minute of all times for them to the third. But yeah,
there's 2 ways to look at it, isn't there? Is the fact that Liverpool have certainly looked more open, and as you said, teams can get at them. There's spaces defensively. There's issues that backline hasn't settled yet at all. Kanate's been dreadful in the first 2 games. Let's be honest. Kirkic hasn't really kind of settled just yet in that back line. They had Gravenberch, which helped a bit, but teams are still finding that way through. But then also Liverpool are showing that grit and that mentality to find their way through those periods, and they have enough attacking firepower and moments themselves that they can get across the line. So they'll probably look at it and go, do you know what, we've not actually played that well in these first 2 games, but we've got 6 points and we've taken 3 points at St James's Park, which not a lot of teams are probably likely to do. And then when you think Newcastle are thinking, well, we've got back in it 2-2. Bruno Guimaraes, by the way, fantastic. Was absolutely insane. He was everywhere. He was buzzing the crowd up. It was David Beckham Grease-esque in that second half. He was almost on his own, wasn't he? Yeah. He was absolutely everywhere. William Masouda then getting the goal. As Newcastle saying, do they need a striker? And then he gets his moment and finishes it. And you're thinking, they've seen off Salah, they've seen off Wirtz, they've seen off Gakpo, they've seen off everybody else. 16-year-old Ngomara, I think his name is. I think I want to get the pronunciation correct. 10 minutes into stoppage time, Salah lays the ball across. A really good dummy from Szoboszlai. And to be fair, what a finish from a 16-year-old. And a goal Spenny fan Chris says, Sheffield Wednesday won up a little. And I'm buzzing because I had a free £5 bet and I put it on at 14-1. So come on, Sheffield United.
Go on.
Defend it. Go on. Defend that lead.
It's outrageous.
Sit back and park that bus. But yes, Ingmar, I'd say I'm not sure if you've seen the goal, Shah, but another new star for Liverpool and another excitement to end a game of excitement.
Oh no, I love that. To be fair, I love seeing the younger players coming through. And Liverpool in the last few seasons, they've had a couple, haven't they? They've obviously had Harvey Elliott. I cannot think of the other one, and it's going to annoy me. Oh,
Curtis
what's it called?
Jones.
Curtis Jones. That's the one.
Yeah.
Probably one of the easiest names. Curtis Jones. So I do love seeing youth come through. And to be honest, in the Premier League this season, I feel like, I know we've mentioned a couple already, but I feel like there is a lot of young stars, isn't there, coming through?
There's a lot. And younger as well. You're seeing a lot
Very
more of these
young.
sort of 15, 16-year-olds. And we, on the continent as well. Look at Lamine Yamal, for example. But it does make it's going to be really interesting, I think, for Thomas Tuchel and England managers and things, because it does seem to be a push that they're getting into Premier League sides that little bit earlier. It's going to be the push on the international stage, because if these teams, they're playing for teams like Liverpool, they're going to be playing the Champions League as well, so they're proving it at the highest level. And I think maybe they're going to knock on the door a bit more, and you're going to those kind of, you remember in the past you used to have those experienced England players that would be in the squad forever. I think that's going to be harder, because I think there's always 100%. Going to be that kind of rising promise, isn't there?
At least he'll still pick Jordan Henderson, though.
Jordan Henderson's place will be safe until the end of time. I've no doubt about
player
it.
We will have. It's good to see, though, because as we've seen recently, our under-21s in particular, they're doing really well internationally, aren't they? Obviously, even James Trafford is part of them. Is at Manchester City. I know we didn't have the best game the other day, but he's got experience, and it's really good to see them coming through now, because if we got together and tried to pick the England squad right now, who Thomas Tuchel would pick, I don't think we'd be able to come up with one, really, because there's so many different talents coming into it now, and it's actually quite exciting for international football.
Yeah, it is. As you said, we certainly wouldn't get the one that he'll pick for next summer, I think.
Just Henderson.
Apart from Henderson, of course. Henderson and Kyle Walker, and we'll be going about everybody else. Chris says, Arsenal put on the, yes, we spoke about him, Max Dowman. We did speak about him when we spoke about the Arsenal game. Chris, he's very, again, another proof of that pudding, if you will. But in a game of excitement, a game of magic, a game of everything, a game of the Alexander Isak nonsense, every rest of it, we also got, which you won't have seen, Shah, Ref Cam. We got the introduction of Ref Cam.
How was it?
Not a fan.
No.
Sketchy at best is I think I would say is the opinion. So if anybody didn't watch it, they've now there was a ref cam that they were trying out, which was on the referee's chest, probably about middle of his chest. So you weren't getting eye height. I think the idea was that it would give you his view of a decision, which they then didn't use on the Van Dijk versus Gordon one, which possibly tells me that he wasn't in a good spot for that. So the only thing that they did show was him just up close to players when they were arguing with each other. But also, it was quite jiggy. It was very sort of like, it was a bit like, it was like a first-person cam in a computer game. But then it was kind of like you'd set the sensitivity to like crazy. And it was all very, Ref Cam, not a fan. The other introduction I've not been a fan of at all. Half-time player interviews.
I don't like
that.
Get
in the bin. Not interested. Thanks very much. They need to be with the what they're going to say. What are they going to say at half-time that they can or can't say? Like, it's just, we don't know. We don't want it.
Yeah,
I thought they were all right, actually.
You were a fan of Ref Cam, were you?
I mean, I wasn't. No, I'm not a fan of it.
Cam advocate.
I'm not bothered. I wasn't bothered by it. I like the idea of it because I think it'll stop players from maybe mouthing off as much. I like the idea of that, but I think
you're on CCTV watching.
Yeah. Well, I know you're joking there, but I do think a lot of players will go, hang on, if this gets fed back and then I get in bother, like I still think there'll be players. A lot of players will still have a go, but I don't think they'll maybe go as over the top as you see some of the players do. And I think if there is that sort of, I don't know what you would call it, deterrent, I guess, then maybe that might help, but we'll see. But yeah, I again, the players at halftime thing, I 100% agree. That is a load of nonsense. We need to get that out straight away. But yeah, I wasn't really particularly bothered by the ref cam, really.
I'd love ref cam in non-league. Imagine it
Oh
in non-league.
my God,
Oh,
really.
we should make it a thing.
Just don't even look at the players. Turn to the fans.
Yeah.
There's Shaw right at the front going, "You
With my pie."
Yeah.
It would just be carnage. Thank God they didn't have the audio on. It would be absolutely.
All you just hear is "No, me pie." Someone knocks it out of Shaw's mouth.
No, you're gonna have to get me a new one.
Oh, so we're ref cam. We're waiting and seeing. It's interesting, but on halftime player interviews, no. I didn't mind they used to do like the Champions League manager ones in between. I didn't have a problem with that, but I don't want to hear from players midway through a game.
No.
It's not doing nothing. Right, next game, Grimmy. Fulham won.
Sorry,
Manchester United.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I'll leave this one to you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Appreciate it.
It's a point, Grimmy. There was a goal for Manchester United. We didn't score it technically completely ourselves. However, there was one in the goals for column. Do you want to start with what's your key takeaways from Fulham 1, Manchester United 1?
Bruno Fernandes is an absolute melt.
Yeah, poor. That wasn't good.
Like, I get missing a penalty. Fair enough. You can be grumpy all you like. You've missed a penalty. Whatever. But blaming it on the fact that the referee casually bumped into you as you were walking backwards and he was crossing into your path and didn't apologize? What are we talking about? Like, fair enough, pick the ball back up, recompose yourself, put it back down, but then to just blaze it over the bar and then blame it on the ref is it's absolute nonsense. Yeah, just not a fan of that at all. Would have loved a halftime interview with that guy after that incident. That would have been great TV. But apart from that, yeah, it was a Man United performance that I've seen copy and paste probably the past 2 or 3 seasons, really. Started well the first 20 minutes and then didn't do a lot else after. So, yeah.
Just kind of slipped into nothing, didn't it? Same as I thought the first, again, they came out electrically in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Cunha, by the way, does look different gravy, what I've seen of Cunha so far. And okay, he possibly should have taken his chance that he missed. But he looks extremely lively up there. So he was a massive plus. But yeah, I'm with you. I thought they while they started well and there was an intensity about what we were trying to do, it then slipped into the same kind of way of how we play. Once we scored, we sit off. We kind of, Amorim said it, we're trying to defend what we had. We stopped trying to play for the performance. Yeah. There's still, I didn't want to get too positive after how well they played against Arsenal. I don't want to get too down about because it's a draw at Fulham, who are a good side. They're no mugs. This is a very stable, difficult place to go in Fulham. While United have got a good, record there somehow in recent years, I don't really understand because we should have been beaten a number of times.
Yeah.
Actually, that from a results standpoint, so I don't get too negative the other way. But there's a lot of square pegs and round holes still when you look at that system and how it's working, and there's lots of questions that you still have about it. Like, does Bruno fit in the 8? I'm not entirely sure. The midfield pivot doesn't work for me. Kobbie Mainoo's not seen a minute. What are we looking to do anything with him? And then he says he's competing with Bruno. Well, Bruno plays every minute, so that's not ideal. Ahmad at the right wing back position seems to stifle him a bit, and then also Dallo came on and then doesn't have that kind of end product in the same kind of way. Sesko obviously has just come in, so I don't think you can kind of be too critical of him yet, but it's clear that they don't know how to play that link-up play yet either. That's going to take some time. And yeah, as you said, just a lot of the same sort of the sloppiness creeped in, which worried me. The sloppiness wasn't there against Arsenal, but the sloppy passes, giving away silly corners because we've overhit a pass, or that nonsense was there a little bit. That was what worried me. And it also worried me some of the post-match stuff from Fulham, how easy they knew what we were going to do.
Yeah.
I think there was comments, and they were sort of saying, well, we know Man United do this, and we know that when they take the lead that they'll do this, and we know that this would be a thing. Just thinking, if we're that easy to read, that's a problem. That's a massive problem in its kind of self. Again, this week's a big one because Grimsby and Burnley, they have to win. This is the sort of stuff where then they will get stuff on the back, because the EFL Cup is a competition, one of 3 that they're in. There's no Europe, so while they're going to rotate the side, it's going to be a strong side still. You're still going to have like the likes of Xerxes, Maguire. You're going to have probably Sesko Mavens. You've got internationals starting, so there should be no excuses there. And then Burnley at home is the sort of game that we can sense frustration that it'll be 0-0 after 70 minutes, and Old Trafford will get frustrated, and Burnley will nick a free kick or something. Or was that one with Tom Heaton where he made about 31 saves?
Yeah, I don't want to be
and our goalkeeper at corners. No corners. I don't want to see any corners conceded.
It flaps,
scares
doesn't it?
the life out of me.
It flaps.
Yeah.
I've never seen a goalkeeper that unnerved.
I know.
I've seen a few, and De Gea was bad when he started.
De Gea was bad, but he wasn't that bad. Yeah,
it's panic beyond all belief. Panic in rabbit, beyond all belief.
Yeah,
but they are talking about a goalkeeper coming in, aren't they? I don't know whether he's going to start, but
yeah, Lamens from Antwerp, I think it is. Hopefully, I mean, he can't be as bad as Bayendier at corners. He just can't be. There's just no way. We can't have scouted him and gone, yeah, he'll be fine.
Chris is auditioning to be the new Chris. If you come out and clear people out to get the ball, then I'm all for it. If you're standing your ground in that penalty area, it'll be an improvement of what we've got in the air at the moment. So it was very panicky.
I'd put my wife in, and she's 5'2". she I tell you what, if she had to jump up and punch a ball out of the air to get it away from some defenders, she would do it. I'm telling you now, you wouldn't mess about with her. No chance. I don't mess about with her. She scares me.
Okay, get Ruben on the phone.
Yeah.
So a draw for Manchester United, a draw for Fulham. I saw a quick word on sort of Fulham. They play, to be honest, I think they grew well into the game. I thought Silva made some good substitutions in the second half. They're a bit sluggish at points in the first. But I thought he made good subs. Smith Rowe came. They've got some good depth, and I think a lot of people are saying Fulham haven't done a lot in the transfer window, but actually it's a stable team when you're bringing players like Smith Rowe and Wilson off the bench. I mean, Wilson last season was doing the biz, wasn't he, Shah? If he carries on like that, Fulham don't need to do too much, I don't think.
No, they're a very good team, Fulham, right? And they go under the radar quite a lot from people, don't they? Like you said. But yeah, Wilson, bringing him off the bench last season. It got quite a few goals, didn't it, to be fair? Yeah. I really like Iwobi as well. I think he's very, very strong, physical. And yeah, I do feel a little bit for Fulham because they do massively go under the radar. But I feel like Silva does a really good job for them.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect match for those two at the moment. I think in terms of where it is that Fulham are a solid, difficult Premier League side to contend with, and that's why I say 1-1 draw at Fulham at Craven Cottage is not. There's going to be teams that go there and get worse results this season, no doubt.
Definitely,
no doubt about it. The last game we'll give a bit more coverage to, and then we'll go round the rest of the grounds. Was Burnley 2, Sunderland 0. Shah, all 3 promoted sides have 3 points. Remember last season where it was like October or something before we got 1? All 3 promoted sides have got 3 points. This is surely a good thing for the Premier League.
It is a very good thing. And do you know what really did make me laugh about this one? We have a family fantasy footballer head-to-head league, and I was saying to everyone, I was convinced Sunderland were going to win. And I was like, whatever you do, put Sunderland players in, because I just couldn't see it from Burnley. Because I thought Scott Parker and stuff, and obviously me being me, messed that one up for everyone. But to be honest, fair play to Burnley, really good defensively. I thought it was a typical Scott Parker kind of performance from him. He set the team up really, really well. But yeah, as you said, from the newly promoted teams, I think it's a good sign. They've all got a win now. I don't know if it will last, but these are the kind of games, to be fair, Burnley would want to win. I think it's massively frustrating from a Sunderland point of view, because I feel like these are the games that be more than capable of winning. But from obviously the newly promoted teams, you want to be beating them kind of teams around you, don't you? But But yeah, I thought it was a really good, solid performance from Burnley, to be honest. Poor Ant wouldn't be happy. I know he went on Dan's podcast, but didn't he, the other day? Dan came out at
A
Trump to that
podcast
one.
derby.
The podcast derby, yeah. So obviously it's not good for Ant, but yeah, I think I don't really want to say it, but I think there's actually going to be worse teams at the moment. West Ham being one of them. I don't want it to be like a West Ham slating podcast today, but you kind of have to feel for them and look at them because the teams around them, like even Brentford are picking up points now. The teams that you'd expect to be struggling are picking up points.
Yeah, you've now got this situation where you've got teams like Burnley look much better already than they did before. They look like there's something about them. And so the way that they were able to, obviously this was a championship game last season, but I thought Cullen was excellent. His assist for Anthony was superb, as well as his well-taken goal. And there's just more in that team that you think can cause teams difficulty. And the one thing they didn't do last time they were up was hold on to that home advantage. That was key. That was what they need. So to get that win for them, as you said, a massive one this early in the season, particularly if they've got no points after two, the 3 games coming up are all pretty sticky, and then to have lost to Sunderland as well, then it's not good. But I am worried about the omen of Ant going on Dan, because I'm going on Dan's podcast this week to talk about Man United. So I'm hoping this isn't a trend that's going to happen. So come on, Dan, be a nice host this week. Be a nice host, and if you could give us 3 points as well,
if Burnley beat us this weekend, mind, I'm not coming on next week.
Are you at Old Trafford, though?
It's at Old Trafford, yes.
Yeah, I think Burnley have a good record, I think, at home, to be fair. I think even last season in the Championship, they were pretty decent at home.
Yeah, this can't be a good omen either, because Spinny Fan Chris has just put in that they've just scored in the EFL Cup as well.
No!
Leeds have equalised.
Dirty Leeds, outrageous! How unfair. When Sheffield Wednesday, they need it so much.
Come on,
Wednesday. Central D says he hates to say it, but West Ham will be a relegation fighting team this season. He agrees with what we've been saying. But Sunderland, Grimmies, is a bit more like a reset to reality. The excitement of last week, 3-0 at home, everything's great. It's just kind of a this is the Premier League, and there are going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. When Dan Ballard off injured's not helpful for them. But is it just they're going to have to take the rough with the smooth?
Yeah, 100%. It's a promotion, a fellow promoted team playing their first home game of the season. Their energy was obviously going to be up. I think Sunderland, their main focus has to be get as many points at home as they can, even if that means holding on for dear life for draws here or there, and then playing those sort of lower half table teams and getting the wins at home. That'll be what ends up keeping them up. So yeah, not good to be dropping points against potential relegation rivals, but again, they've got Brentford at home next week, so they can bounce back with a win there if they need to, or if they want to.
Yeah, if they can do, can they? That's the question. And there we are. So we're going to go through. Obviously, there's a few games we didn't touch on that we will mention as well. So Bournemouth with a 1-0 victory over Wolves. Great sort of bounce off of them off the game at Anfield where they played well. As I think the Semenyo set it up for, if I recall, was Tavernier, wasn't it? Yeah, early on in that one. Totti Gomez sent off as well for Wolves. So Wolves are one of the two sides that have no points, nil points so far, but have won in the EFL Cup tonight. They've knocked out West Ham, so that's a result for Wolves. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 0. Dango Ouattara, newly moved there, of course, so that was a massive win for Keith Andrews. Absolutely needed that, as everyone was bashing them last week for that poor performance, and then they've gone off and put a performance in. But Villa have not started great. They can't spend any money. No. It's not the greatest start for Aston Villa. And then we have Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest, which of course is more spicy than it used to be because of the whole connotations with European football sort of thing, with Palace being demoted and all of that. And then a topic we will talk about, because one of the most surprising things coming out probably before the game, you get the pre-match press conferences, and usually it's like, this player's injured, this is whatever. Nuno Espirito Santo sounds like it's a spectacular fallout with Marinakis and the Forest bosses. It was absolutely incredible, the comments he was coming out with, when he said basically, where there's smoke, there's fire. He said that we're not on the same page. He said that, things are in a really bad place. And then it continued again after the game. There were sort of various comments made as well. Said, we're going to have to sort this out. There's rumours of fallout between Nuno and Edu in the background, and that Marinakis is sat on Edu's side. I mean, Grimmy, what do we make of all of this? Because it was all a fantastic win on opening day, European football, only going one direction. And it's very strange to hear this from a manager, not kind of from anybody else at the club.
It's just bizarre. I think it's the best word I can use to summarize it. I think everything in that Forest scenario should speak harmony, and everyone's getting on with everyone, and everyone's pushing in the right direction. I think the problem is Marinakis, is that
100%.
Because if you look at even previous scenarios, and like when he came running on the pitch at the end of that game, I can't remember which Forest player it was. He got injured, but they didn't sub him off, and he was raging at Nuno for that. Even though
incident,
wasn't up to him. And then there's the whole hiring Clattenburg as a referee advisor. Like what's he gonna do? Nothing has ever changed in the annals of footballing history after a decision has been made in a game. Nothing has changed after that. So yeah, it's just very bizarre to see that Forest, despite having their best season in 10, 20, 30 years, somehow potentially getting rid of a manager who's put them there and helped them build this squad that's able to sell the likes of Elanga and still look like they could potentially be in with a fighting chance of Conference League next season, or maybe going on a cup run or something like that. It's just bizarre. And I hope it gets sorted out for their sake, because it would be a shame to see Nuno lose his job when he's done such a good job. But again, it's Marinakis who knows what he's going to pull out of the fire. He could get rid of Nuno and then bring in, I don't know, Pep Guardiola to take over somehow. I don't know. Something bizarre like that could happen. But yeah, it's mental that Forest are potentially getting rid of one of the best managers they've had in 30 years, really.
It sounds like there's a lot more to kind of come out from this, and the club have kind of, I think, tried to back down. They were kind of surprised by the reaction that they saw from Nuno. So, where they're at, that they're obviously looking for reconciliation, and who knows what the details are behind some of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. He says he's getting replaced by Big Ange, which would be the biggest change in tactical styles that you could ever imagine.
Do you know what, right? If I was West Ham, I'd act on it right now. If he's upset with upset with Forest and Nuno, and obviously Graham Potter's getting close, possibly to getting a sacked, I'd go and get Nuno, because I think that would be a very, very good signing. To be fair,
do you think he would go though? Because if surely you're Nuno looking at West Ham going, nah, you're right.
True.
I actually said the other day, if I was Forest and I was after a manager, it would be a total S-word Howe's move, but go get Glasner from Palace.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly not happy with Palace not spending money. They're not spending money when they've just got a boatload in from Eze. I mean, it's literally just come up before that apparently they're about to sign Jeremy Pino from Villarreal for 30 million. But they haven't really invested in the summer after their greatest season. So Glasner's clearly not going to be happy with that. He's going to look at what Forest have got and go, yeah, definitely like to manage that team and take it from there. But yeah, just really bizarre. Just bizarre.
Exactly, bizarre. That one is gonna play out, and all eyes on it. We didn't have that on our manager card, that's for sure. At the start,
even the Gibbs White situation, Sam.
Mad,
wasn't it? Interview where Gibbs White was stood there and he was stood right next to him. I'm convinced he had a gun behind Gibbs White's back.
It was weird. Gibbs White was like, "Thank you, Mr. Marinakis."
It's it's like
It was
when you're a kid and
odd.
you get told off and your mum and dad come with you to say sorry to like another kid you fell out with.
It was. It had some real weird. It was just the way he kept looking at the camera as well. Let's just say, like, wink, wink,
It's
or
just
nod. It was just
crazy.
very odd. And of course, you know, many fan Chris is saying, yeah, and the banner, Crystal Palace, of course, not best pleased with Nottingham Forest because they feel, you know, that they grasped them up in this whole court of arbitration issue and then being dropped out of Europe. And well, the FA are investigating it. What are they investigating? There was a banner. Like, I don't really get an investigation. Like, there was a banner.
Investigating Manchester City as well.
Yeah, so it would take 3 years before we get anywhere with any of this. Anyway, we would all forgotten about it by that point.
The banner will get sorted before the 115 charges.
It goes right to the top of the queue, and we will go to the Premier League table. Though I've just realised, actually, my bet on Sheffield Wednesday Leeds was for Sheffield Wednesday to qualify, not just to win. So we're still in business if we get a penalty shootout win. Come on, Wednesday with these penalties.
Come on, Wednesday.
Minutes.
It's 90 plus 2. I hate to tell you as well, the Sheffield Wednesday goal was an own goal from the Leeds goalkeeper. Just to make it better. But yeah, it does look like they've absolutely been battered and they're holding on for dear life. So
hold on. Everything. Hold the door.
It's still too soon, Sam. Still too soon.
Sorry. Too much heartache. But we will bring up the table. Don't look at the right-hand side. No one wants to look at the right-hand side, but do look at the left-hand side. It's North and under the top, I think. We've got Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea is the top 4 at the moment. Doesn't mean a lot in these early days unless you're up there and then you kind of care. But there we are. That is the Premier League table. But we're not done because there's European football is back. They're all back. Last weekend, we covered a couple. They're all back, and they're all back in many ways. So I'm going to have to get up my notes because I can't remember all of these games. So let's go to the next slide. And we have the Spanish La Liga, Matchday 2. The Spanish, we've got some funky colours going on for these different leagues going on. So first of all, we had Real Madrid with a 3-0 win over Real Oviedo. Bit of Mbappe magic. A brace from him and Vinicius Jr. as they got a dominant away win. So that's 2 wins, 6 points, and 0 goals conceded so far for Real Madrid. So they're starting well. But Villarreal, 5-0 over Girona. The Yellow Submarine, they're surging. 2 games, 10 goals, none conceded. Tajon Buchanan netted a hat-trick, a jaw-dropping performance. And Girona was sunk. A defensive disaster from start to finish for them. This isn't the same Girona side of a few years ago.
No.
I think it's fair to say. Barcelona, a comeback, super comeback. 2-0 down they were to Levante, but they rolled back with goals from Pedri, Ferran Torres, and a late own goal, an important recovery to keep pace at the top of La Liga. Atletico Madrid dropped points again, second weekend in a row after losing, I think, first game. No, sorry, they drew the first game, so they're winless, 2 games, 2 draws, as they drew with Elche. We had a Desmond between Real Sociedad and Espanyol, which is always lovely to see. Espanyol were 2-0 up, but Sociedad clawed it back for a 2-2 draw. Osasuna beat Valencia. Budimir with a 9th-minute strike was all it took for Osasuna to beat Valencia. Athletic Club Bilbao, they beat Real Vallecano with a second-half penalty. They're 2 wins out of 2. Getafe beat Sevilla. Sevilla always seem to start terribly, literally, this season. That's 2 wins for Getafe as well. They're the early surprise package with Adrian Liso scoring twice. 0 points for Sevilla. Fans are already restless there again. What sounds a bit
shock
this season. Real Betis, who need to get their Anthony bid in pretty sharpish. Come on, we've been waiting all summer. Let's get that one over the line.
Chop.
But former Spurs, Lo Celso, with a 16th-minute strike, gave them a 1-0 victory over Alaves. And Mallorca, there was late drama. Celta Vigo scored, and then Murray equalised in the 88th minute for a 1-1 draw there. So there we are. Quick flash of that table, because it's very early, but it's quite nice to see some different names there. Villarreal, top of La Liga, Getafe in 4th. Sevilla in the relegation zone, which we'll see up until probably about April, when then they'll get their act together and finish like 16th, as tends to happen in the standard kind of approach. Italian Serie A, which I was going to hand to Lucas, but he's not here, so I've had to do an emergency check on what was going on at
Lucky.
Inter Milan. We've got Inter Milan 5-0 against Torino. Not a bad start for them. Bastoni, Thuram with a brace, Lautaro Martinez scoring. Good start as Inter want to be in the title race this season. Juventus 2, Parma 0. David and Vlahovic deliver. The duo struck in the second half to seal the win. Important news from Sheffield Wednesday with a crucial save in the 94th minute. Getting close.
I
getting
may
close
have just seen it on the second monitor that I've just opened up and put on to see if we get the penalties anytime soon.
Oh, we can get third man penalties. Exciting. Roma beat Bologna thanks to Wesley. Wesley, didn't he play for Aston? Is that the same Wesley that played for Aston Villa?
Is that the same
Possibly. Kicking off their campaign. And then Napoli 2, Sassuolo 0. One of the greatest midfielders of our time scoring for Napoli.
McTominay.
Yeah, not De Bruyne. He did score, but Scott McTominay.
McSauce.
Ballon d'Or.
Get him
Scotty.
that Ballon d'Or, I'm telling you now.
Oh, imagine.
Ballon d'Or.
If he
Scotty.
wins that. Oh
what a guy. I love
him.
McTominay.
Love McTominay. It's a 2-0 win. He opened the scoring for the champs. You know, he is just the Don.
Okay.
He's the Don over there. A shock. AC Milan 1, Cremonense 2. Pavlovic struck before half time, and Bonazzoli sealed the upset. Courage from Cremonense. A fearless performance from them. AC Milan, that's a drop in points on opening day. That's a bit disappointing for them. And we've got Pisa. Pisa are back in Serie A. How lovely. A bit of pizza. Atalanta 1, Pisa 1. Scamacca. I think the Scamacca West Ham, who didn't do so well, as per many of their players this season so far. But Pisa got a draw on their opening day, so that is wonderful. And Udinese 1, Hellas Verona. Como 2-0 over Lazio. They're back. They're newcomers. They beat Lazio. And Calgary 1, Fiorentina 1. And of course, Lecce. They're back sharp. Point in the bag for Lecce.
Go on, the Lecce.
Genoa.
I need to get a Lecce shirt.
You need a Lecce shirt. This is it. They're
do.
back. Spark was back. 0-0 draw
back.
against Genoa. No, never met her. Lecce with the draw. Fantastic for them. No table for them because it's only week 1. So you only get a table on week 2. That's the new rules. But the Bundesliga, the German Bundesliga, was back as well. They're kicking off. It kicked off with Bayern Munich just with a simple opening day victory, 6-0 against Leipzig. Harry Kane bagged a second half hat trick. Michael Olise scored twice, and Luis Diaz added a goal and 2 assists. And Sheffield Wednesday's got the penalties. Come on. You've got Eintracht Frankfurt beating Werder Bremen 4-1. Jean Matteo Bajoa scoring a brace. And then they also had a Can Usen, apparently electric, 1 goal and 2 assists for him. St. Pauli versus Borussia Dortmund, a 3-3 draw. That's exciting, a 6-goal thriller. But St. Pauli newly promoted as well, so they a good draw for them against Borussia Dortmund. Stuttgart, who we're getting live updates from the DFB Pokal, which apparently, as Sean says, is they're 4-3 up, but extra time in the 92nd minute. But they lost at the weekend against Union Berlin. Elias Ansa with a double, apparently. Augsburg 3, Freiburg 1, Wolfsburg 3, Heidenheim 1. Wolfsburg starting the season well. Hoffenheim 2 by Leverkusen 1, of course. Eric Ten Hag, not a great opener for him. Missed chances and sloppy defending, the report said. So there you go. And Cologne beat Mainz with a 1-0 victory. Mönchengladbach 0, Hamburger 0. Nothing else to say about that. That's not what we want to see. And of course, no table because it's only week 1. But over to France, Le Francais, Paris Saint-Germain 1-0, doing the business again. Narrow win for them. Fabien Ruiz scoring for them. Marseille stuffed Paris FC. Marseille had a bit of an opening day drama, didn't they? Where they had a fight, didn't they, between Jonathan Rowe and Adrien Rabiot, who have now both been both been moved away. Not what you want on the opening day of the season. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with a double, doing the business for them. Nice or share. Nice with 3 goals, 3 points. 7th straight unbeaten home game for them. So, yeah, that's Nice, isn't it? Very Nice indeed. Very Nice indeed. Gotta get it in. Gotta get it in. Lyon 3, Mets 0 as well. Great for Lyon, riding their opening day momentum with another victory. Lorient 4, Rennes 0. Stade Rennais kind of shot themselves in the foot because they had 2 men sent off after 11 minutes, which is kind of not... It's not an ideal start to an away fixture. So
there's bravery, and then there's that, I think.
Yeah, that's not a great way to open your campaign there. So a 4-0 loss to Lorient. Lyon won 2-1 at Le Havre, a tough away win for them. Toulouse 2, Brest 0. Clean sheet and 2 goals for Toulouse. Brest deflated with a 2-0 defeat. Strasbourg 1, Nottingham 0. A great win for Strasbourg. They've had a good start to the season. And not forgetting Lille 1, Monaco 0. Injury time winner from the most handsome man in football, Olivier Giroud. Olivier Giroud with a goal in injury time.
A lot of home wins.
A lot of home wins. They love a good home win in France. Love a good home win. So there we are. Matchday 2, Lyon atop, which is quite the turnaround considering that they were
in the second division.
With all of that nasty business sorted out for them, they're now, they're back and flying. It's like a table from the 2000s with Lyon top. But Toulouse, they haven't learnt to lose yet this season because they're beaten.
He's on a roll.
With the dad jokes, you know it. We'll keep them going. We'll keep them going.
Like Christmas cracker ones.
This is it. I'm ready.
There'll be something about sagging for the 14th place team. I'm sure, Sam.
No, they're still just a bit deflated. Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit deflated.
There we go. And the penalties have started.
They have started.
There we go.
Apparently, there's been a argument between Jared Bowen and some of the West Ham fans. He's been held back by his teammates to stop arguing with the fans. So
well, they're kicking off at Jared Bowen. God help the rest of them.
No, you can't kick off at Jared.
He's like the one you can't have a
He's
go
the one
at.
guy you've got. He's the one guy you've got. The Dutch Eredivisie, which I think is actually matched. It might actually be Matchday 3 possibly over there. They've been going for months. Go Ahead Eagles. They were defeated by Sparta Rotterdam 3-0. PSV, is that right in the chat? Sheffield Wednesday have scored the first and Leeds have missed.
I'm about to tell you in a second because number 10 has stepped up and he saved it.
Come on, Wednesday. Come on, Wednesday.
I love how it was 14-1 to qualify.
I know. That's what I thought. If I remember, the win was 16-1. I was like, oh, okay, well, let's have a little look. So I was like, if it's going to be like 8 or I reckon that'll be about 8-7-1, but it's still only 14 to qualify. I was like, yes, please. We'll have a cheeky freebie on that one. Evening as well to Russ. Evening to you. He says, yes, Arsenal top. Yes, they are indeed. What else happened in the Dutch league? So PSV 4-2 against Groningen. Luc de Jong netting twice. Johan Bakayoko and Ismail Saibari for them. Telstar Volendam was a lovely Desmond. We do love a Desmond. Heerenveen 1, FC Twente 2. NEC Nijmegen, who have become an absolute stormer in the Dutch Eredivisie so far. 3-0. They've scored 12 goals in their first 3 games, which is a club record since their most famous era many years ago. So they've started like a train. Utrecht 4, Excelsior 1, and Ajax 2. Heracles 0. Brian Broby and Stephen Bergwijn sealed the deal. With Wout Weghorst pulling the strings, apparently, Grimmy, because that's what he does. That's what he does.
Stop the chat.
It's 2. It's 2. They're 2-0 up. They're 2-0 up.
Oh my god, he blazed it over the bar.
We love it.
Oh my days. That was worse than Bruno's, and that's saying something.
We absolutely love it.
Let's
come on.
We shouldn't get giddy here because we've got Grimsby tomorrow. We've got to worry about that. That's just
Artel's got them playing very well.
Yeah, I know. You can just see it, can't you? Might have a look at the odds afterwards.
To qualify, Grimsby 20-1. Yep, that's a good £2 there.
That's a reasonable. At Scottish Premier League, yes, of course, I have a roundup from the one and only.
How do they have games postponed already?
Well, because as Rebecca will explain, Grimmy, if you maintain your patience,
She's here.
Yeah, Grimmy, chill
she's
out.
here via the interweb. Via fax machine, Rebecca is here with her match report. Match week 3 in the Scottish Prem saw a weekend of draws, apart from Celtic, who secured a 3-0 win over Livingston. Hearts came from 3-0 down against Motherwell to draw 3-3 and secure a point. It wasn't Big Shanks. I did check.
I know,
so
I just
thinking,
checked.
I thought surely he's got one, but he didn't.
It's rubbish him.
Was rubbish. Not much to say on Dundee this weekend, although there's now 2 paragraphs on Dundee. They drew 0-0 away to Kilmarnock. Dundee did have the ball in the back of the net, but it was later
He
sent
saved
to
it.
VAR.
Sorry, the through.
Wednesday's done it.
Another
Wednesday
2
has done
saves
it.
and 1 blazed over the bar.
Get in, Wednesday. God bless you. Unbelievable penalty shootout.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So Dundee did have the ball in the back of the net, but it was later sent to VAR and the play was ruled offside, seeing the point share, but another full 90 and a clean sheet for Ryan Astley. Do you know what that was? I saw Daniel Farker talking after the Leeds match about making loads of changes and stuff and how the Premier League's going to be the more important thing. And I was like, you're going out on Tuesday. We'll have some of that. So, yeah, full 90, clean sheet, Ryan Astley. It's also come out today. Ethan Hamilton's joined Dundee from Lincoln, which is very exciting because you get to see Ryan and Ethan play together like they did at Aki. There's unrest at Rangers. They secured another draw. They've started poorly, really poorly, and Russell Martin's in trouble up there already. Rangers fans have expressed their frustration to the current form during the week against Club Brugge, and the match also saw Hamza Igamane refuse to come on as a substitute. What's all that about? Shenanigans. And Grimmy, to answer your question, Dundee United versus Aberdeen and Falkirk versus Hibs were both, although I've got Falkirk versus Knack Breda in a sensational Scottish Premier League game. That didn't happen either. That was also postponed.
Falkirk have secretly got into Europe without realising it.
With teams competing in Europe midweek and the league allowed them to postpone. So isn't that lovely? They need, after the performances of Celtic and Rangers in the European leagues, they need all the help they can get at the moment. So there we have it. Not a lot went on in the Scottish Premier League, but surprise, Celtic top. And the surprise is Rangers are 7th. Rangers are on the second half. The Rangers aren't even in capitals at the minute. That's how bad it is from Rangers' perspective.
That was, by the way, Sam, you do need to work on your Rebecca impression a little bit more, I think.
Well,
the words were there, but I just didn't hear the impression well enough.
I can't do Rebecca justice. You know what I mean? There's only, I'm saving it so that you get that authentic feel, because I've been teasing this for a while. When Rebecca finally gets to do her first Scottish roundup of the season, we have a new graphic. We have a Rebecca Scottish Premiership graphic, and that will kind of bring it all together. You see. But, in amongst the Accrington playing Tuesday games, it hasn't happened as of
shocking.
Yet. It's a shocker. But we've done it. We've done Premier League Matchday 2. We've done the whole of Europe. We've gone around everywhere. So all it is to thank my super duper co-host. Thank Charlotte stepping in to save the day. Superman is here and is back again tomorrow and is back again on Thursday. Thank you so much, Charlotte.
Can I just say that?
I know, I'm crazy, aren't I? Absolutely crazy. You've got to keep out the content. You've got to keep it rolling.
Consistency is key.
But the content keeps rolling.
Keep it going.
I'm so tired.
Yeah. Games. Football.
Football is in my head.
What's going on?
Good job, you enjoy it, really.
Where can everybody find you and all of the content you have coming out?
Well, on the socials, I am SharXREFC. That is on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. My Her Game 2 stuff is Rochdale, HGT, and all of those. And myself, Jen, and Ben are recording one of our episodes of the new Women in Football series. If you haven't watched our first ever episode, please do, because honestly, it's something we're all really, really proud of. On the podcast, we are partnered with Her Game 2 as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, you can find me on Thursday as well with Absolutely Lower League. We will be talking the EFL Cup as well, so we will be talking about Sheffield Wednesday.
There we go. I'm very much up for that. Very much up for that.
If you can't find Shaw, you're not paying attention, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I'm everywhere. They're sick of me at this point. Everyone's sick of me.
Exactly. And go and watch the Women in Football series. Charles been working super hard, and that was an excellent first episode with Fiona Butterig, gig of Luton Town and Malta International. And we've got a very special guest. There's another one on Sunday. We're not revealing who it is yet. There's going to be another one on Sunday, so do check that out. That's all ready to go. And as Spenny fan Chris says, Huddersfield are through. Huddersfield.
We're doing well, Huddersfield, so far this season. You can find out more about them on Thursday, everyone.
More about them on Thursday. Another plug, you see. More penalties to talk about.
Exactly.
And a man who it's never a penalty to be with, never a Bruno penalty anyway. It's more like a Harry Maguire penalty spending the evening with Grimmy. Grimmy, where can everybody find you and your content?
What a comparison. Obviously, you can find me on here most Tuesdays for the Premier League podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, do that. I've got my own YouTube channel, which is all about sports trading cards at the minute and seems to be getting a bit of traction. So if you want to find out or learn something new about my current hobby, I would love you to join me over there. And that's about it. And if you're not watching any of the other Absolute Football podcasts, why aren't you? Go watch them.
Yeah,
Probably because of me, Grimmy.
Well, look, you said
I'm a Klingon. I'm a Klingon.
I didn't put it out there. You said it.
And Central D says, where can we watch it? Well, what an excellent question that is, because you can watch it all here. It's all on the Absolute Football Podcast YouTube channel. That's where it all is. And you can see all the episodes that were on there, the Women in Football that we were talking about earlier, as well as all of our live shows are on there. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're here live, 8:30. Shah doesn't have to do all of those. It's not a regular thing. Shah's on 4 days a week.
I might pop up and see Freya tomorrow.
Yeah, just turn on. And
Just
start
turn
talking
on.
about-
You just got to keep the run going. It's like an unbeaten streak. You've just got to appear on as many in a row as possible.
Exactly. It'd be like a marathon, a podathon, a massive podathon. We are 8:30 live on Monday. It's the non-league show, absolutely non-league show with Shah hosting. There is the episode yesterday where they talked about 3 rounds of non-league, National League, North and South, in collaboration with NL Full-Time and a wonderful team there. Sean said, don't know if you missed my last message about the Stuttgart score, Sam. I probably did. Tell me what it is. 4-4. It's a double Desi. It's a double Desi, Grimmy. That's why it's important.
That's
We've got
what we've
double
been waiting
Desmond.
for, Sam. That's
A
why we
double
come here for. The
Desmond.
double Dizzy.
It's
We
all
were
happening.
We were questioning what was going on with the Stuttgart updates, but that's why, because it was leading to a double Desmond. A double Desmond, if you don't know, is what we call a 4-4, because a Desmond is a 2-2, and therefore 4-4 is a double Desi. A double Desi. Tuesday, you can catch us at the Absolutely Premier League show. Of course, we'll be discussing all the roundup. We'll be back again next Tuesday. Don't know who's on yet. We'll work it out later on. Someone will be on. I'll be here. Not sure who else. Stars free. It's a podcast night. And on Wednesday, I'm back. Confirmed back tomorrow is Team Chaos. Freya is back with Paul, and I believe Danny, possibly, maybe Chloe. I'm not entirely sure, but they do have a team of people ready to do their WSL season preview, which is very exciting because it's not that far away from women's football, where they've got some new graphics as well, because WSL kindly decided to change everything, which screwed up our color scheme. So thank you, WSL. And on Thursday, the Absolutely Lower League show. Shah's back again. It's the Championship, League One and League Two, with a bit of probably EFL Cup thrown in it for good measure as well, with the Rowdy Rabble on Thursday at 8:30. You can be a YouTube member. How exciting is that? You can be part of the Absolute Podcast team. There's a join button, I think. You get access to behind-the-scenes episodes, interviews we've got on there. There's live chat benefits. You get emojis and special things on there. You can have a little look at the channel. It tells you everything, what that's all about. Come and join us, be part of the team. You can find us elsewhere. Twitter, Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast. Same on Twitch. TikTok, Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football. And Facebook, The Absolute Football Podcast. Exciting. And there we are. All that's left is to say thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. We'll leave now because Charlotte needs her tea. it's just waiting and ready. And a break before another podcast to do. We hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy the football, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.